And so I got really scared and I thought, oh my goodness, I better take this seriously. For them to be able to make choices in their life, their career, their health, and be responsible for themselves is really, really gratifying. Help is not a four-letter word. You can't be afraid to say it out loud. I need help. I need assistance.
Hello, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Midlife Revolution, the show for busy women, empowered women ready to transform their lives. I'm your host, Coach Angie, and today I have the distinct pleasure of introducing you to a truly selfless woman with just one of the most triumphant stories I've ever heard. Edee Franklin's story is one of resilience, transformation, and unwavering commitment to creating change, you all. And she was once trapped in the cycle of heroin addiction. She fought her way to recovery and turned her experience into a powerful mission. Today, she is the founder of Sanctum House, a sanctuary for survivors of human trafficking, providing them with housing, therapy, education, and the opportunity to rebuild their lives. But Edee's impact doesn't stop there. In addition to her advocacy work, she has built a thriving career in real estate where she excels in helping people find homes, paralleling her deeper mission, creating safe spaces for those in need. Whether she's closing deals in real estate or opening doors for women seeking freedom, Edee's work is rooted in the belief that everyone deserves a fresh start and a place to belong. Her journey from addiction to leadership is proof that it's never too late to rewrite your story. And that true success is measured not just by personal achievements, but by how many lives you uplift. Please help me welcome Edee. Edee, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much, Angie. I'm really honored that you'd have me on your show. I'm pleased to be here to tell my story and see who or what, or possibly it can, inspire someone, or we can just connect.
Amazing. So let's just get right into it. All right. So, Edie, your story is really incredibly powerful. Can you take us back to the moment when you decided to fight for your recovery? What was the turning point for you?
Well, I don't know that it was my total decision to start a recovery program when I did. I was very into drugs at the time, and I had been a heroin addict for 10 years, and I got arrested. And I was facing 20 years in prison. I was facing lifetime probation. Um, and so I got really scared and I thought, oh my goodness, I better take this seriously. And it was at that time I got a recovery. I went back into therapy for recovery and I went into a long term treatment facility for drug addiction. And it was a lot. I was there for probably a little over a year and a half or close to a year and a half, something like that. And so it just addressed pretty much addiction and what to do in addiction. So that was the reason I started to, that's why I started my recovery. And that was I was in treatment back in 1979. So it was a long time coming. Then I went into that program. I got out of that program. I did relapse after that, and I didn't get into full recovery again from drugs, alcohol, and everything until 1988. And at that time, I took charge, but I had already been on probation for 25 years. And then finally, I got off probation. And even though I was given lifetime probation, which was a long time to look at not being able to travel or do your life or have freedom.
Mhm.
So I made the choice for freedom out of fear.
Amazing. Freedom out of fear. I love that. Well, what inspired you to create Sanctum House? And what was the biggest challenge in bringing that vision to life?
Okay, well, I was, it was 19, not 19, it was in 2013, 1913. It was in 2013 that I took a class at Landmark Education, and we were supposed to find something missing in our community and fill that gap with a project. And I had always been a woman at risk, obviously, and that started back in junior high school. I mean, I was not. I was wonderful, but I was risky. I was always taking chances. So I took a landmark education class, like I said, back in 2013. And I found, being a woman at risk, and in junior high, I had written a paper on white slavery, which was prostitution back then. And there was a lot of conversation about human trafficking and what to be done for it. And as I went into that, I realized that, like I have been in recovery for alcoholism for 3 months, 3 weeks. I knew short-term recovery was not what trauma victims or people that were addicted needed. They needed long-term care. So I decided to create a house for there were less than 3 houses, places for recovery for human traffic survivors in Michigan back then. There were less than 180 beds in the entire country back then when I did my research. So I thought, what better to do than to open up a long-term treatment facility that addresses, health, mental health, physical health, spirituality, anything that it does to make a complete human being, feel good about themselves. So I set out to do that.
Usually, it takes what we go through in life for us to create a passion out of it and help others. And I love that you did that, because you could have kept all of that for yourself, right? And so, as you mentioned, Sanctum House provides more than just shelter, therapy, education, job opportunities. What's been the most rewarding part of seeing these women reclaim their lives?
Well, I think seeing is that we give them all the tools that they need, to go back out into the world. Most important is to watch them take back their own voice. Women that have been in a traffic situation or anywhere in life where we lose our voice, we're afraid to speak, we can't speak for fear of retribution. To see them make choices for themselves and real choices. I mean, you couldn't tell this is the color nail polish you're going to wear today. This is how you're going to dress. For them to be able to make choices in their life, their career, their health, and be responsible for themselves is really, really gratifying.
Yeah. You have an incredible career also in real estate, and I love that too. How does your work in housing and home ownership connect to your mission of providing safe spaces for survivors?
Well, I've been in real estate for 25 years now. I had done it once, oh gosh, years ago. It was one of my very first careers. I started in commercial real estate, but for me, I wasn't crazy about it. I mean, I do still do some commercial now. But I think the more I realize, personally, I've moved 17 times. I've been in 17 different, places to put my head down. But I realized when a woman would come into the facility and say, this is the first time I felt safe going to sleep. I know that when I sell people a house or find them a rental, um, or just my regular clients, not human traffic clients, but anybody, when they find the place that they love, where they feel safe, where they can raise their children, it's a really, really good feeling to put people in a place, help them find what makes them feel safe and loved and comfortable.
Yeah, I love that. It's really a gratifying feeling
And
to help
also
people.
sometimes, we walk into houses all the time,
Mhm.
and some of them, they have 10 mattresses in a room, or you see, so you kind of like can see if you keep your eyes open as a real estate agent or broker, where there might be a place that you would have to report. So it's
Yeah.
important to do that too, or a house in a neighborhood where people see things, where people are coming in and out all day long. Those are
Mhm.
other things to look for in the realm of human trafficking.
Wow.
But I
Well,
love
addiction,
selling houses to human traffic victims or anybody.
yeah, of course, of course. Well, addiction and human trafficking are often misunderstood, right? So, what do you wish more people knew about both, and how can we break that stigma?
Well, I think, well, two things. One, you have to know the description of human trafficking is a sexual exploitation or labor that involves force, fraud, or coercion. Unless the person is under 18 years of age, then it's automatically human trafficking. But I think what's important is now that addiction has come out of where we only thought it was in the inner city or it was in marginalized populations, it has now come in full view that it can happen to anyone anywhere. It doesn't matter your money, your status, your color, your religion. It just doesn't matter what you are in a mess when you get addicted. And the same goes to with human trafficking. I was in a mess in my life. I don't necessarily look like I was in a mess in my life, okay? And neither do human traffic victims. They don't look a certain way. So addiction doesn't look a certain way, and people that are caught in the web of human trafficking, it's men, boys, and traffickers don't just have to be men, they can be women. Mostly it's somebody that the person knows. That's not like stranger danger, because strangers don't grab people in parking lots. It's usually someone that somebody knows. And addiction is usually a friend that gets you involved. You just don't wake up one day and say, gee, I think I'm going to go look for some heroin. It's a gradual thing, and we have to address mental health.
Mhm. Absolutely. Mental health is that's one of my passions. I have a nonprofit as well, Team Angie Fitness Project, and it's the family over uh, the holistic family, you know, from mental health to fitness, of course, and nutrition and financial literacy. And it is just my passion to be able to help people who cannot help themselves or who do not realize that they need the help. So I I honor you for what you're doing. And no one overcomes hardship alone. So, who supported you on your journey? And how can others show up for those struggling with addiction and trauma?
Well, I think, everyone was willing to help. Some people I didn't want help from. Okay. I didn't want the support from them. I didn't want them in my business. You don't really know. You don't know my life. I'm really enjoying it. Whatever story I told myself. Excuse me. But I think the main thing with addiction or people in recovery, people stuck in a bad marriage, domestic violence, whatever it might be, help is not a four-letter word. You can't be afraid to say it out loud. I need help. I need assistance. Help me. Help me get out of this mess. Even when you think it's weak, okay, to ask for help. We're taught, you do it yourself, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. That is not how addiction or this works. You need the support of everybody. And people can't be afraid to. I think we're also, as an outsider, afraid to do an intervention, afraid to bring it up to the person that's in it, because they're going to bark back at us if they're not ready. And it takes people 7 times to attempt recovery before it sticks. Sometimes it's not always a one and done.
So, what advice would you give someone who's dealing with a friend, a family member, a child, a mother, father who's going through addiction? What would be the best thing to say? Because there are things that you shouldn't say to people who are going through, like, everybody's going through this. You should wake up, you know, those type of things.
Yeah, right. Not slap, slap, get over it, right?
Exactly. So, what
Yeah.
could you say to someone that would actually have them listen to you and take in what you're saying?
I think the key word you said there was listen. Is we need to listen to the people that are in it telling us what their problem is, what they're doing, and what they're going through. We can't think for them. We have to honestly be open to not just get our viewpoint out, but hear them and believe what they say is their biggest trouble, and then try and get them the resources that they will need to pull themselves out of it and reclaim their own person.
Good. That's good advice. Really good advice. You've already spoke about women who feel stuck, whether they're in addiction, trauma, or just life. Um, and we're talking about them moving forward and taking that first step. So the first step you mentioned was to just ask for help, right? But what if they can't? What does a person do when they just can't allow people into their lives?
Then they have to take there's nothing that gets, I always say, successful people start before they're ready. So take an action step. I don't care what it is. It's a little step. Get up and say, okay, I'm going to get up and I'm going to get dressed this morning, instead of shooting up, or instead of doing whatever it is, instead of just being a doormat for my partner or whoever is your abuser. Take a step towards action. Look up something on a website. Tell them, that, if you're the person themselves, start to do some research as to where you can go and what you can do to get help. If you don't want to talk to another person that reach out
Mhm.
into the community. There are so many resources out there. You can go to, Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous. You can go to the polarisproject.org and find out anything you want about human trafficking, where to go, what to do. So you have to become your own advocate. And I know when you're stuck in addiction, you don't really want to do it, but I used to look in the mirror and I'd say, oh my God, there has to be a better way than this. This is not the way that you're supposed to live. And I was, it was just so frustrating. I didn't see a way out. I didn't see a way out. And you have to get to the point where you just can't take it anymore, and you're going to find a way and find a way out. I knew for myself that the only people that could stop me were the police, and I got myself arrested, and that's what happened. So that was my action for that was my way of reaching out. I did something illegal and knew I'd get arrested.
I love that story. I love it. And look at her, everyone. Look at how where she is today. 1988, right? Was the day.
1988.
Yeah, the day that you decided that you would change your life. And here
Correct.
you are, and here you are today helping other women and having an amazing career in real estate. Listen, you are an inspiration. You are. And
Well,
my
thank
final
you.
question to you, of course, my final question to you is what legacy do you want to
Is
leave?
what?
What legacy do you want to
Oh,
leave?
what legacy? What? Just that I was good and honest and straightforward. And, my passion is to see people find themselves and grow. I always say the only way out is through, and to know that you don't die from pain. You can die from holding it in one way or the other. So, not
Mm,
to be afraid to go through your fear, because courage is the ability to make a commitment in spite of the consequences. And I think it's really important for people to make that decision, to take the step. And I'm going to tell you what, if I could get better, anyone in the world can get better. They just need to focus, ask for help, and then take the little baby steps so that when you look in the rear view mirror, you go, wow, that was really my life.
wow. That's an amazing ending to an amazing interview. You are an amazing,
Thank you.
phenomenal human being. And I just want to thank you so much again for being a part of the Midlife Revolution show. And I hope to have you back soon so we can talk more about Sanctum House.
All
Maybe
right.
even, maybe even come on site and let people see
All right.
without, of course, the ladies being there.
All right. Well, thank
So
you
thank
so very
you.
much. I really, really appreciate this.
Absolutely. Have an amazing day.
You do the same. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.